So, I messed up. This whole thing didn't work out, so we're gonna start over. Despite the fact that this actually did work, it was so slow. Just going out and dealing with the trees was more worth it than just waiting for this thing. The big problem with this one lied in the string, which the trees did not want to grow underneath of very much. We still have all the same issues with these trees, which is the roots being a problem, pushing the tree up so high that they're difficult to reach. And then you have the branches, which I guess this one doesn't have one because, you know, they want to be like that. The branches are also still a problem because they cause all the leaves and everything, and it's just a huge mess. As you can see, I experimented quite a few times here trying to get the roots to be nice, to play nice with everything, and they just decided they didn't want to. The thing I ended up coming up with, this new one, next to our nice little exploded one over here. This design is still containing the tree, but it's doing something different. It's actually splitting it up into levels. It's at the same exact height, which is the 7 blocks high, and then on the 8th block is where I made my first platform. Instead of string, I put logs. These trees are able to actually grow through the logs. I also made them a different color because, you don't want to mix these up when you're chopping them down and all that. Since these trees can grow so big, I ended up actually doing a second level, which is the same exact height as the bottom one, and I did the same exact thing. Furthermore, they do work with the other log blocks, but they won't actually work with stuff like the shroom lights, even if you can get them to grow under there, which is going to be kind of a pain. They don't want to grow into the shroom light. That's a thing that's not going to work that great. But if you bring it over here, you can get them to grow through the stems. Of course, that's going to be a pain because this other tree is in the way, of course. Whatever, it doesn't want to grow at this point because this one I actually moved away from. It ended up being a little bit too small of a design. And so it was actually more of a pain to get multiple trees to grow. It can grow, like one. This is basically like good for one tree, and you don't actually have to have the mud. That was another thing I was experimenting with to see if the trees would grow quicker in mud versus the normal dirt. They don't. At least from what I can tell, it doesn't matter. And as you can see, it can grow through the other logs. I've only tested it with the warp stems, the acacia wood, and I think dark oak I did also. I'm pretty sure it'll be able to grow through all of them though. Since, I made this one that was a little too small and basically worked for just one tree, I ended up going further. I have built this glorious tree farm over here, which is 20 by 20, and I also intentionally didn't use mud because when you bone meal down here, they're a really small thing, and it's so easy to accidentally click off and just bone meal everything. To get around that, I've been using mud, and it's also just helped indicate where to grow trees, because if you get too close to the edges of this farm, they don't like to grow as much. Like if I get within this block, I don't think it's going to want to grow as well. Nope. It proved me wrong. Of course it proved me wrong. That is one area though that you might want to be careful with. If you get too close to the edges, sometimes they just use up tons of bone meal and they don't want to grow. So staying in the middle is best. Staying a few blocks away from the outside edge is best. They will still grow there, but they might have problems. They don't seem to care very much about the light levels, so, knock some of those lights out and it'll still bone meal right up there. And that was a shorter tree, but as you can see, some of them have also grown all the way up through top. And this one also provides a lot more materials, which is also quite a big benefit over the original design that was extremely slow. Yeah, sorry about that. I should have definitely tested that one out a little bit more. Once I actually got into a survival world and tried to build it, it was not a fun time. This one eliminates the issues with the bone meal problem. So just grab your fancy tools and just come down here and start chopping everything down. The 8th block is the one that floor is actually on. You can reach up to 7, so you won't actually hit the floor if you go that high. And once you get this level done, you just go up to the next level, which I did build a little ways away because these branches can come out farther. I've had a couple ladders just get completely encased with branches and leaves and stuff, so you got the same height on the next level, so you don't have to worry about knocking out blocks you don't want to be knocking out. All you have to do is just be a little careful with your floor. This is a much more improved farm. It's so much faster, and it provides way more stuff. You got your last level, which sometimes the trees will get quite tall, and they can get up here. You could potentially put another level in if you really want to. Ultimately, it's up to you. If you want to make more levels, go for it. And if not, then, can just keep the top of this a mess. It's fine, right? It's fine. And it might not ever be a mess. They might stay low enough that they don't turn into that big of a mess and they're totally easy to chop down and stuff. I've not run into any of the problems that I have with that other one. These have been growing so much quicker. It'd help if I was in creative mode so I had my access to all the bone meal again, right? All these trees tend to want to grow fairly fast. I don't think I've gotten one that's gone above 10 bone meal. So just in that little time, this is the amount of stuff I got from the trees, and I wasn't even really trying. This one is so much quicker, having different levels in which all the trees can grow through, and you just move through each level, collecting all the blocks you want. So that's my new and improved mangrove tree farm. I hope that it works a lot better for everybody. Thank you so much for watching this.